Hey guys, what's going on? Saturday, March 31st, 2012. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. I got my new shirt, Independent, Series 2. Saw the gray one in my last video. I got the green one going today because I'm getting ready, just like you guys, for more independence and more freedom. And you know what? Signs of Illuminati defeat are everywhere. Everywhere. So I want to finish up a couple of things that I've been talking about in the last couple of videos. Want to include some new things, and let's get to it. First thing I want to talk about, I've done a couple of videos about Coney. First video I did, I talked about Illuminati Code and how it was a statement of defeat from the Illuminati, and that is nothing further from the absolute truth. I mean, a couple weeks after I did that first video, you've got definitive signs of defeat, staged events that were made to absolutely put Coney in the gutter. And what I'm talking about specifically is number one, when Clooney got arrested in that Sudanese embassy thing, that was ridiculous. It was completely staged. And the thing that they wanted to drive home with that was the point of Coney arrest. Coney arrest. That's the subliminal they were trying to get in people's heads, because actually the day prior, the presumably founder or creator of Coney, this guy Jason Russell, is parading around the streets of San Diego completely nude doing freaking calisthenics, which also was a statement of defeat. It was completely staged. Absolutely 100% staged. And you will notice that because the guy that filmed the camera, the TMZ footage, he's sitting there, and this guy Jason Russell, the presumed founder or creator of the Coney stuff, was just pacing back and forth in front of the camera. I mean, he didn't run down an alley, he didn't hop over a fence, he didn't run across the street, he didn't get out of the camera eye. Do you notice that? That's not coincidental. Completely staged. That guy Jason Russell is completely a 100% face card. Coney was developed by the likes of Steven Spielberg and the Hollywood A-team film developers. It was destined to fail. It's a statement of defeat, and these two arrests, especially the arrest of Jason Russell, burned that statement of defeat in people's brains forever. Coney will never come back. It is done. It is finished, and that's what it was designed to do. So I'm going to put that to rest. Also, another thing that's happened in the last few days here, very important. This is probably the big enchilada here. This is the big stuff that I want to talk about today. And it's the fact that JP Morgan, this is how it was reported in the news, that JP Morgan closed all of the accounts that it had for the Vatican. The Italian Vatican, okay? That's not really what happened. Really what happened is that the Vatican closed all of its JP Morgan accounts. That's really what happened. And before I explain all of this and get into it and why it's so significant, number one, the Vatican is the big Carillion. The Vatican is the structure of power, both overtly and covertly, in our world today. It is not the royals. It is not the United States government. It is not our politicians here in the United States. It is not the corporations. It is the Vatican, okay? And I think it's very non-coincidental that the day that the Vatican or JP Morgan or whomever announced the closure of these accounts was the day that the Greek bond auction happened, where the holders of Greek bonds had to take a 50 to 75% loss on the value of those bonds. It was very hush-hush. I haven't heard that much about it anywhere, but I think it's very, again, non-coincidental. Vatican Bank closes accounts. Greek bond auction happens on that day. It is an absolute statement of defeat. It is an example of defeat, and let me get into it, why it's so important. Now, I said that the Vatican was the big Carillion. Oh, yeah, the Vatican is the beginning of the sorcerer's level of the Illuminati. okay? The Vatican is the beginning of the sorcerer's level of the Illuminati. The top ranking sorcerers is a group called Magic 12. I have spoken about them in the past, and no, it is not the Majestic 12 UFO group that has been associated with that name. That is a cover story that is absolutely false. And I'm going to give you an example of a member of Magic 12, and you will instantly recognize the sorcerer Illuminati connection, okay? And one of those members of Magic 12 in the past was a guy by the name of Aleister Crowley. Now, if you want to understand a sorcerer, if you want to understand a dark arts practitioner, he is on a level, Magic 12 sorcerer, where they are right below Lucifer. So that explains all the crazy, weird kind of stuff that he was doing. Not a lot of people understand what he's doing because he's in that different realm, different environment. But that is the ruling class distinction of the Illuminati. Okay? And again, the source of this is Vatican, the beginning of the sorcerer's level. And let me explain why the Vatican is so important. Not only does the Vatican have outrageous amounts of money, not only does the Vatican control human mental conditioning through religion, not only do they have their hands on ancient antiquities, manuscripts, writings, artifacts, but they are harborers of the true history of humanity. They are the harborers of true human characteristics, true human intention, and true human history. They have written documentation, they have absolute proof of the existence of Atlantis. They have detailed descriptions and also artifacts to describe the destruction of Atlantis. They have ancient artifacts from Egypt because that was the first dark empire after the fall of Atlantis. Then it went to Babylon. They have ancient artifacts, etc., from Babylon. And the Vatican itself is a representation and a continuation of the Roman Empire. So it has all types of treasures, artifacts, writings from the Roman Empire also. And to add fuel to the fire, the Roman Empire never failed. The Roman Empire was looted, and the Vatican stayed in power covertly through the whole thing. So again, they are the big Carillion, very big, very powerful, and for them to make a statement, or for them to close bank accounts, huge bank accounts, on the day that the Greek auctions are going forward, that is nothing short of extraordinary, that is nothing short of extremely positive, and that is nothing short of an absolute, unequivocal statement, instance of defeat. No doubt about it. That is a fold if I've ever seen it. Fold like nothing could ever explain. So that's why it's so important. That's why this event is so all-inclusive for the big things that I've been talking about. You know, if you want to look at the Vatican also from a banking standpoint, the Vatican is at the top of the banking empire. J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, they kowtow to the Fed. You know who the Fed kowtow to? Vatican Bank. Vatican Bank. Vatican Bank, that is what it is. It is the pinnacle of secret banking. And I briefly talked about this in my video, Illuminati Fold Their Hand. I said at that time there were meetings with the international community and secret banking. Now, a couple months later, we see the Vatican, secret banking, closing accounts. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. And the recalibration goes forward, the re-equilibrium of this world goes forward, and it is going to be a great place. Let me talk a little bit more about further instances of defeat for the Illuminati and how that is permeating the media, the alternative media, and let me organize a few things for you here. First of all, Banker resignations, I've talked about that in the past. What are they up to now? 1,500, 1,000, 450, 5,000? I mean, who knows? Who knows? They just keep growing exponentially every day, every day, every day, every day. Folding, sign of defeat. Another thing, Egypt is proposing and talking about 100% complete debt repudiation. Debt repudiation, wiping all the debt off the books for Egypt. They don't want to take on Mubarak's debt. They don't want to listen to the bankers, and they want to tell the IMF to take a motherfucking flying leap. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Just another sign of absolute people standing up, paradigm shift coming forward, and the Illuminati going down. It's beautiful. I love it. Now, a couple of things I want to mention here real quick. About a month ago, Iran found a huge new oil field. China just inked a deal with Saudi Arabia to build one of the biggest oil refineries in Saudi Arabia with modern Chinese technology. Huge. Absolutely huge. And then Obama, a few weeks ago, gave a couple of oil-rich islands up in the Alaskan area back to the Russians, or to the Russians. Now, all of these things that have happened that I just mentioned in oil would have never happened a few years ago, or even 6 months ago, because Illuminati was in complete control of all of that stuff. And these are signs that the Illuminati doesn't control the oil market anymore, because they're finding these huge fields, they're exposing them publicly, they're saying we're going to build increased refining capacity. Obama's giving oil-rich lands to the Russians, so what does that say? They're folding. They're not in control of that market anymore. Because in the past, when they did control the oil market, what happened? What happened when Saddam Hussein years ago said, I'm going to trade oil not in dollars, but I'm going to trade oil in euros? What happened? Boom, 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 boom. Bombs were flying 48 hours later. Bombs, that's when they went into Iraq and actually captured him. That was the real reason why they were over there, because he said that he was going to trade oil in euros. But do you notice now the oil market is being liberated? No bombs are flying anywhere. Nothing is happening. China's opening up these refineries with Saudi Arabia. It's going to be one of the largest in the world. And if there wasn't oil sitting there, why would you be building the refinery? Do you see what I'm saying? So yes, another sign of defeat, another sign of the equilibrium that's being obtained, and another great thing for humanity. There's more, there's more, there's more. Remember, independent. We're getting our independence back, guys. The BRICS continue to meet, talking about getting off of the dollar. They're talking about having their own currencies outside of the world reserve currency dollar. Absolutely beautiful. I love it, I love it, I love it. And then also there was a couple of instances that also happened a couple of weeks ago. One of the Queen's banks, the Queen of England, one of her banks was fined for money laundering. That would have been unheard of 6 months ago. Unheard of. Because now, after a certain amount of the Illuminati people have folded, okay, they're not going to protect the Queen anymore. They're going to go forward with the prosecutions. They're going to go forward with the demise of the Illuminati. And you're seeing that all over the place. Also, there was a French presidential candidate that said last week that a lot of the Queen's money, he made this statement publicly, comes from drug trafficking. Oh, isn't that 100% correct? And you know what? If the Illuminati hadn't folded, if the recalibration process was not going forward, this dude would not be able to make this statement. No way in the world. It is a sign of their defeat. Okay? I'm going to go real quick. There was a couple of things that also happened in the news. Not as significant as the stuff that I've already spoken about, but relative. Very relative. On 3/27, Russian President Medvedev says to the American presidential candidates that they better proceed with reason and that they better check their clocks because it's 2012 and not 1950. So what he's telling them is, look, you bitches, it's not your world anymore. You back down, you continue with this process, and we'll get along just fine. Okay? On 3/15, Megyn Kelly of Fox News. Megyn Kelly. Prim and proper, conservative, blondie, never getting out of line. She's talking about solar flares. She's got a big picture of the sun up there, like an astrophysicist. She's talking about solar flares. What is she doing? So I said, what the heck is this? So I continued to listen. I listened to it. 30 seconds later, she's making an analogy between the solar flares and the explosion of the Death Star at the end of Star Wars. The first explosion, the first Death Star in Star Wars, the original Star Wars, 1979. She's got 2 minutes of that tape running. Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, the photon pulse torpedo or something going into the Death Star, then flying away, boom, and the Death Star's blowing up. That is an absolute media sign of defeat. Like, I can't even tell you. Megyn Kelly talking about astrophysics and then antiquating or analogizing it with Star Wars? The defeat of the Empire? No. They're leaking stuff out, and they're letting you absorb it slowly. Also on 3/15, there's a guy, or Cameron was talking to Obama, and they were having, Cameron was here in the United States, they had a press conference in the Rose Garden or something, and there was a guy, a press journalist. Guy's name, listen to this, Joey Jones. His name is Joey Jones. I mean, that sets bells off on my ear, like, ha ha ha. What is this guy going to say? Now, traditionally, all of the press releases, all of the interviews that are done with Obama and all these other presidential candidates are completely censored. The questions are known ahead of time, and the questions are designed to make them look good. That is 100% the case. No, not anymore. Not anymore. After you listen to Mr. Joey Jones, Joey Jones, yeah, listen to what he says. He's asked the guys about the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq and whatnot, the war in the Middle East the United States has been engaging for the last 10, 11 years. He says to both leaders, why do both of you leaders talk and talk and talk and talk and nothing happens? You're kidding me. After I heard this, I turned the sound up. I saw it and I turned the sound up. Second question he asks is, the war has been going on for an extended period of time. It is an absolute failure, and why do we continue this war? That's what he said. That's what he said. You know what? Times are not the same if questions like this can be openly proposed and asked to the President of the United States and the responses openly aired on mainstream media. That is a statement of defeat. It is a significant, along with everything else that I've said. I mean, it's clear. It's clear as a bell. It's clear as a bell. Illuminati are finished. Illuminati are done. There's signs of defeat everywhere. Everywhere. And this is just the stuff that I caught. There's probably a lot of stuff that I haven't even caught. And one of the things I want to comment on is there are some people online right now that are talking about these mass arrests and the arrests that are happening. Look, majority of the Illuminati have folded. You can see that in the banker resignations. You can see that in the actions of the Vatican, the big Carillion, and everything else that I've said. Now, there might be some scragglers that are out there that are still hanging on by a thread. But who do you think are the guys that are going to go and arrest these people if these mass arrests or this big, section of arrests is going to happen? The people that are arresting them are guys that used to be Illuminati, but that have folded. Do you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what these scragglers, these little, minute bottom feeders are doing right now. Okay, arrest, don't freak out if it happens. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if it does, you got to look at it as, oh, that's just it. We're just mopping up the floor and getting the dirt that's in the corners. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's all good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm excited. I'm really excited about the world coming up. I'm excited about everything that's happening right now. And yeah, you know what, guys? Good for us. Good for us. Good for us. All right, hope I gave you enough stuff to think about today, but there's a lot to talk about. All right, thanks guys again. Always have a good weekend. Thank you.